Hello again. So I'm just doing a quick update of a couple of new changes, a few new additions into the portfolio. I've organized my ETFs and my bonds a little bit. I actually don't have pretty much any bonds. I had like one or two different bond ETFs before now. There's been a couple of new stocks added. One of them has changed their name, that's Royal Mail. And I have sold one because I realized that one of the ETFs that I had is accumulating. And accumulating means it automatically reinvests the dividends, which is not what I'm aiming for with this portfolio. So where are we? Yeah, I sold this one, the Spider MSCI USA Small Cap Value Weighted. And accumulating means that dividends are automatically reinvested, but I'm looking for distributing. Distributing means it pays out a dividend. So we sold that one because I'm not planning on keeping it for however many decades this portfolio lasts. And I also added a new one, the Global X Super Dividend ETF, which I think I've been waiting quite a while for this to be added to Trading 212. It's a very popular dividend ETF, but it's essentially 100 of the highest dividend paying stocks globally are followed in this ETF, but it does not allow fractional shares. So if you are using Trading 212, you should go into settings and enable this indicator for fractional shares. This little F means that you can put €1 in and it will give you a fraction of a share. But whereas this one, I have to buy a full share each time, which is no problem. It's $9, so not the worst. But as soon as the F pops up, if they ever allow it, I'll just add it into the rest of the pies for ETFs. So a name change that we've had. Royal Mail has become International Distribution Services, and its ticker symbol has been changed from RMG to IDS. And it's happened with a couple of them, but it's not really significant. Massive dividend yield at the moment, nearly 9%, but it only pays a dividend twice a year. You have to keep in mind. So it won't be very frequent, but it will be large. So up until now, there's €326 in dividends, and I think I made my last update 2 weeks ago, and I had just crossed the €300 mark, so it is picking up speed. And you can see here that quite a lot of them are coming up towards that €1 per dividend payment mark. And at the moment, the euro has lost quite a lot of its value against the dollar, so any dividends I receive in dollars will be automatically converted into euros in this account. So I get more dividends from US companies at the moment, but putting my money into US companies is now less desirable because my euros are worth less when they're converted back into dollars. So I'm using the extra dividend income from the foreign exchange and putting it into UK stocks because the pound has also lost quite a bit of its value. It's recovering, but the best thing for me to do at the moment now is to invest into euro and sterling or Great British Pound stocks and ETFs until the value of the dollar comes down a little bit compared to the euro. Because although the stocks are crashing, the foreign exchange is actually making it less desirable for me to invest into US stocks and ETFs. So they're coming along nicely, quite a few double digits. So the next part is the bonds and ETFs, which are quite neglected in my portfolio up until now. But I've discovered that the maximum number of pies that you can have in Trading 212 is 50 at the moment. So when I try to make another pie now, it won't let me. And I was in the process of cleaning up some of my ETF pies and creating these bond pies. So a bond, if you've never heard of it or you're not 100% sure of it, it's essentially an IOU from the government. You put your money in and the government can then use it. And in exchange, you then get the same amount of money back, plus whatever income or interest it is accrued over however long you leave it in for. And they have different durations and they focus on different things. So there'll be government bonds and treasury bonds and corporate bonds. And my understanding at the moment is not great, but I'm now learning it all for the first time, so when I find stuff out, I'll make a proper video and I'll share any information or any points that I've come across. But at the moment, I'm just separating them by currency. These are all in dollars, Pounds, it's the same thing. So a gilt is just another name for a government bond. And an important point with these and with ETFs is this here, DIST. This means distributing, so it will pay a dividend. And there's other ones that have accumulating on them, which means the dividends are automatically reinvested. So because this is a purely dividend portfolio, bar a few stocks here that I intend on selling in the future, I'm going to sell any ETFs that I had that have accumulating on them. But they're all quite red, so I'm not going to be doing that for a little while. But I'm just separating the bonds and the ETFs by country or by currency. So the bonds are being split into currency, and down here I'm creating a bit more organized version of my ETFs. Before this I just had one single pie and it was called ETFs, and it was any ETF from any country in any currency. And the reason I'm separating them is because of what happened in the UK recently. All of their bonds started to crash and the pound started to lose its value against the dollar, and I think against the euro as well. So the reason I'm making these is if, say, another event like that happens, but if it happens in the States this time, if the US bond market crashes, oh, there's a dividend in. If the US bond market crashes, I can then go into this pie. Where are we? Yes, into here, and I can invest my money in there. Now, because it is divided by currency, it's not exclusively US stocks, but if Trading 212 allows me to create additional pies in the future, I'll make a purely like US bonds pie and then a bonds in dollars pie. But it would just mean that it will save me a lot of time digging around what bond comes from where and what currency it's in, and I'm just kind of giving them their first initial separation. And yeah, at the moment I can't create any more pies, unfortunately. So I think this one as well, the global ETFs, I'm going to remove this. At the moment they're all in pounds, but because there's a limit on the pies, I think I will just do them in any currency and put them all in together. So if the entire global economy goes into a recession, which is supposed to be looming, I can start putting my money in here. Same thing here with the S&P 500. That's the top 500 US stocks. And here is UK ETFs. These are exchange traded funds, but these are all in pounds at the moment. Same here. The FTSE 100 is like this S&P 500, but it's for the UK, the top 100 UK stocks. And the FTSE 250 is the next 250 UK stocks after the top 100. And Eurozone, as you've probably guessed, is ETFs that follow the Eurozone. So the reason there's 3 of these in here is that they're all in different currencies. So where that will become useful to me is if, say, I put money into this one and then the dollar loses value against the euro, then any euros that I would have put in will be worth less because the dollar that it's been converted to is worth less. So this particular one will dive a bit more than the others, and the next time I put money into it, it will fill this gap more than the other ones. So it's still quite primitive at the moment, but I'm getting there slowly because the bonds and ETFs section of the portfolio has been really neglected up until now. I've been focusing on individual stocks. And another thing to help me with the pie situation, I'm now going to basically combine these two. These are some of the best UK dividend companies. And what I'm going to do is, there's usually 10 in the list. So this is the most recent one. And the 2 newest companies here are United Utilities Group and Homeserve. So those are 2 companies that have been added to the portfolio. We are now at 668 different investments. So we're getting close to that 1,000 mark, and I think I'll stop there. And 1,000, that's quite a lot. But I'm basically going to dissolve these 2, and then anything from the year before, so from 2021, any investment that has made it into the 2022 list, I'm just going to import that from here. So GlaxoSmithKline here is one of them. I'm going to export everything out of this pie. I'll just do it now so you see what I mean. Take everything out. So now the pie is completely empty. And if you're using pies in Trading 212, when you export individual companies, it actually removes them from the pie. It removes the slot. So if you don't want to reorganize the pie, just export everything, and then you can import whatever you want back in, and it will just save you from losing the slots that each company has. So now this is empty, so I can delete this one. And now I'll just change the name so I know it's from 2021 to 2022. Oh, it looks like it's too long. Yeah, that'll do. And the only reason I have this little asterisk beside it is that it moves it straight up to the top of the list. It goes in alphabetical order. It goes 1 to 9 and then A to Z. But what happens is when you go above 9, so when you go to 10, it will put that 10 up here. So they say this is number 1, this would be 1, 0. So it's a little bit annoying, but it's not a huge inconvenience. So now I can import anything from the previous year's list into here. Jupiter Legal. So let's see who's neglected. Homeserve is new, so that should be lower. Rio Tinto comes in, and Admiral Group. Rio Tinto and Admiral Group. So now those two pies have been combined into one. And when the 2023 list is released, I'll do the same thing. I'll dissolve this pie, and any of the companies who have made it into the next year, I'll just import that position, which will be much larger than the others. And any leftovers, so I think it's BAE Systems is one of them, I just put them back into their A to Z slot. So I have room for one more pie now, but I'm probably going to have to rethink the pies that I have down here. Definitely get rid of this and just have it in every currency, because I haven't got room to make one for each currency. So, and the same rule will apply here for the dogs of the Dow. Every year that this list is released, I'll have to remake it and then import the stuff from here that made it into the next year's one. So my next little mission is to add in the other global ETFs in different currencies into this pie. So this will probably hit 50 holdings, because there's 22 in it at the moment. Sorry, no, that's bonds. This will probably hit 50, because there's 13 that's just in pounds, and I have to add in euro and also in dollars. So I'll add a few more into there in the different currencies, and I think I will use, if I can find somewhere to add an additional pie, I will then add in US ETFs as its own pie in dollars, and then Euro ETFs in euro. So when I started recording, there was 18 euro in free funds, and it's just gone up to 20. So I'm going to use this 20 euro and 22 cents to get the ball rolling on some of these pies. Because if you leave pies with nothing in them for a long time, Trading 212 will inform you that there's nothing in them, and they're going to be automatically deleted because they're essentially inactive. So I'll add in, I think I'll just put the minimum in, whatever I can do. Best in, minimum 2 euro. No, I'll put in 4, just give them 2 euro each. So now the FTSE 100 ETF is off the ground. The FTSE 250 has 4 holdings. So I will put 8 euro into that, give them all 2 euro. I've only got 822 left. So I will actually put that into pounds, because dollars are actually more valuable compared to euro now. So me putting euros in, I actually lose a little bit of my money when converting it into dollars. So I'll put that in here. No can do. Right, back down here. All of these seem to be moving. Okay, that is 8, that is 9, and that is 22. So the next time I get paid, I'll put money into these just so that they don't get deleted, and I will use the remaining €8.22 to help out whoever's doing the worst. So we have JP Morgan Russian Securities, that's still sanctioned, so it's 87% down and I cannot put any more in. AMC Holdings is for sale in the future, same with DigiHost Technology. Evraz is sanctioned. Loyalty Ventures, I'm not going to put anything in because it's doing absolutely horribly and it's now less than $1, so it runs the risk of being delisted. Adler Group, in a very dangerous position. I'm not putting anything in there. Same with Marston's. I don't think I've ever received a dividend from them, so I'm not going to put anything in there. 888 Holdings, I'm not too sure about, to be honest. Yeah, they do pay a dividend, so I'll put €2 in there. Uniper is, I think, in the process of being nationalized by the German government, so I've never experienced that before and I'm going to wait until afterwards to see what happens. GameStop is to be sold in the future. GN Store Nord, dollars, which I'm losing value on, so I'm not going to go for that. Koninklijke Philips, and that's Philips as in like electric razors and all that good stuff. Yeah, I think I will put some in there. 6% dividend yield. Now, if you're investing in dividends for the first time, do not chase companies purely based on their dividends because they can cut them or suspend them or anything. It's completely up to them. So if you see one that has a 20 or 30% dividend yield, that's dangerous. XP Power, also fallen off a cliff. It is now back to 2016 levels. I'll put a little bit in there. And I have €2.22 left for, no, that's in dollars. Dollars. ProSiebenSat Media, I think, is German. Also looking quite scary. Yeah, there's a dangerous one, 12% dividend yield. So they probably will cut that, if not suspend it. But I am going to take the risk because it's only €2. See what happens. So that's the remainder of that gone back in. And when these investments go through, I will then import them into the A to Z pies, as I have been doing. Which are down here. And that's pretty much all for now. By the time I invest into the new pies I've created for the bonds, and when I add the new stocks into this global ETFs pie, I'd say we'll hit the 700 mark for different investments. So it'll be a nice milestone. But it means that a good chunk of my portfolio is bonds, a good chunk of my portfolio is ETFs, and the majority of it is individual stocks. But as soon as I have all of that updated and once we hit the 700 stock mark, I'll then go back and log all of the dividends and I'll post the full spreadsheets, the Google documents for the payday calendar and for the overall portfolio, so you can see every company, how much its most recent dividend payment was and any dividends I've received in the past. But that's pretty much it. So good luck out there, enjoy investing, and most importantly, do your research, especially at the moment, because things are looking pretty scary all over the place.